What's up? This is James Robert Webb, and you are watching Strike TV.
Angela here with Strike TV. We've got another Zoom call, and we are going straight to Oklahoma, and we have a native Oklahomian singer-songwriter. You're a physician, and then now in the process of being an actor, and he's with us today on Strike TV, Mr. James Robert Webb. How you doing, James?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to be had, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. beats the opposite, right?
Yes. So, okay, so you're just not, you're a singer, you're a songwriter as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
not only the songwriter that's inside of you, but you're actually a physician by day.
Yeah.
How do you handle that? How do you manage that with singing, songwriting? And then you take care of, you were saying something, you're number 7 with being a physician in the world. It's like,
yeah. I mean, so I'm if you want the $20 doctor words, I'm a musculoskeletal interventional radiologist. So what that means is I kind of specialize in bone and joint, but more on the interventional side, like minimally invasive. So kind of like sports medicine stuff. A lot of people that do my specialty just spend all day in a dark room reading knee and hip MRIs for the Texans or, like sports teams. But I really got into osteoporosis and helping people with pain, spinal pain. So my practice is really focused on helping people that nobody else can figure out with back pain or post surgery, and helping people avoid surgery. Yeah, it's the answer to your question is lots of wonderful people. So I've got great great people in my office that help me do what I do every day, and nurse practitioners and MAs and people that run the clinic. And then I also have a lot of great people on the music side that help me, and otherwise I couldn't do one or the other, like I'd get lost in the weeds of trying to do things like billing or whatever.
what?
Well, I've always been in music, like from a young age, but I turned I turned to the dark side into radiology. I can remember when I was in college, I was just playing some backing band stuff, playing guitar for some people that were in a talent show that were singing. And I remember one of them saying, "Man, you're really good. Have you thought about going to LA or, Nashville?" And I can remember to this day just kind of looking out the window and thinking, yeah, and saying something to the effect of, yeah, music is a huge part of my life and I love music. But, musicians' lives are very hard and very few are successful. And, I'd like to have a family someday. So I was going to be a physical therapist at the time. And, but I always go back to that thought. Um, I was an all-state jazz piano player when I was in high school. And, I've kind of played music my whole life, but I never sang until I started writing, because I guess I didn't like the sound of my voice, because like a lot of people, perfect pitch doesn't mean I have perfect pitch, but I think I could just, when I would tape myself as a kid or record myself and listen back, I'm like, well, that doesn't sound like whoever, that doesn't sound like Vince Gill or whoever, uh, and part of that is that I didn't have vocal training and I didn't have anybody around me that was really into music to kind of coach me on that, vocally at least. And then the other part is that my voice is different, so apparently a lot of people like that, but for a long time, like I didn't like the way it sounded when I sang. So
wow. Well, hey, I'm so glad that you continued singing, and
you
actually have a brand new vinyl album out. It's coming out in June. Tell us about that.
yeah, I think this is my 5th studio album. So Weekend Outlaws, we have a vinyl out. It's kind of this really cool red, kind of semi-transparent thing. So this is the first time I've pressed a vinyl. When I started, we were still doing CDs because, quite a few people still would buy CDs and things. But this is the first time I've done vinyl because that's just a little bit more in demand. And this collection to me is a little bit more little more special. And like I produced the whole thing, and a lot of these songs, well, pretty much every song on here, I think I've wrote. I don't think I had any outside songs on this. I have a couple of songs that I wrote with other people, like in my group of people that I write with. But yeah, so for me, and it also kind of tends more on the rock edge, I would say. It's kind of hard to classify sometimes. I mean, it's definitely like I've got a song on there, Local Participating Honky Tonk, which is almost like I could hear Garth Brooks cutting that or John Party. And it was number 7 on Texas. Like it was a top 10 at Texas. And a song New Moonlight that's almost, kind of in that same vein. And then on the other side, we've got like, Gentlemen Start Your Weekends, which I think was a number 2 at Texas.
Oh, that
Thank
was
you. And
catchy.
that's my way of saying thank you to everybody out there playing it and listening, which is definitely more of a, country rock edge kind of thing. So,
Right.
uh, yeah. So I've just decided to stop, trying to fit myself into a box and just kind of make music that I like.
Exactly. So, who would you say some of your musical influences are? And I know they've come from your home state of Oklahoma.
Well, for sure. I mean, heavily on my mind the last couple months since he passed was Toby Keith.
Mm.
Toby was such a great writer and artist, and he had like I don't know 30 something number ones, and he was even though he came up through Nashville, like he definitely was more that kind of red dirt sound.
Mm.
Just some classics like that. Garth Brooks. I mean, certainly when I started writing, that was I was looking at Garth a lot because of his songs kind of having that. What is it about those songs that had all those artists in the '90s really in country, and
Right.
Ronnie Dunn, Brooks and Dunn, definitely that's really on one side it's super red dirt, but when people say red dirt, a lot of times they mean like cross Canadian ragweed or Stony
No.
Rue.
Yeah.
I don't, that's not what I'm not really actually into any of that, for whatever reason. It just doesn't,
Mm.
it doesn't resonate with me.
Hmm.
It's not, I mean, they're amazing artists and have huge respect for them, but it's just not my cup of tea for whatever reason. But the writing's good. But I think when I think red dirt in Tulsa, Oklahoma and Texas, I think like, when Willie came back to
Yep.
Texas and Waylon Jennings and and all that stuff in the '70s and '80s, kind of
Yep. Yep.
uh,
Hmm.
outlaw stuff is kind of what I vibe more on the countryside, I think. So,
Yeah.
but there's some bright spots like Luke. If there's I can't hardly identify with anything coming out of Nashville these days for the most part, but Luke Combs. I mean,
Yes.
I think he's
Yes.
great, fantastic.
Hmm.
Zach Top. He may be a little bit more Georgia than than I like, but he's at least, like bringing it back, country kind of stuff. Um, and then I like everything. Like I like Rage Against the Machine, and I like Eminem, and I like Bob Wills. Okay, like
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine and Bob Wills. I mean, like put those two things together. I mean, who I don't think a lot of people like those. For me, I like melodies and interesting music. And growing up in Tulsa, Bob Wills and Asleep at the Wheel and all that was a huge influence on me as well.
All that good music.
And certainly Miranda Lambert. I mean, that's was one of the big influences for me too.
Miranda's good. Yeah.
And George Strait, like oh,
We
you
could
can
go
just
on.
talk all day about
Oh yeah, you could.
in Texas and that that has success in Nashville too.
Mhm.
But I think more than that, there's a great singer-songwriter tradition in Texas, the kind of the cowboy poet thing that is not really happen that I don't ever really see it happening in Nashville, other than like you get like a Marty Robbins or Toby Keith. Uh,
Right. Yeah.
but outside of it's kind of rare to have what almost everybody has in Texas.
You've got Music City Mistletoe. It's a movie that's coming out, and you're like
Yeah.
you're so famous now. What do we say? You're a superstar. Tell us more
Well,
about that. I mean, you've got two
yeah.
songs that are in the movie, and you
Yeah.
make a cameo appearance as well.
It's it's crazy. I mean, I've been doing this about, I don't know. I mean, I started writing, I think I wrote my first song in 2011. And started writing with like pro writers and people in the industry probably around 2013. So, I've been doing that about 12 years, and there was a lady that I wrote with about 10 years ago, Chantel Ogden, who's great, and she does a lot of she does a lot of music supervisor work. So she actually has had a lot of songs in like Lifetime movies and stuff like that. And we wrote a song with a guy named Bill DeLuigi, who's a great writer in Nashville too, that writes with a lot of indie artists. And about 10 years ago, and then I ran into Chantel about a year ago at a show I was playing. I think it was at Scoreboard in Nashville, and we kind of reconnected. And then last year, she reached out to us because she had written the screenplay. It's kind of her life story about somebody moving to Nashville to be a songwriter, and the struggles you go through there. And I'm playing myself as the king of country music in this movie, which is okay. That's
Wow.
like that's like George Strait in Pure Country or something. I'm like,
Exactly.
I don't know how, it's just so strange how things can work out. And I'm very grateful to be in this movie, look, the movie too. I'm going to say this, uh,
Right.
most people that write a book about their life or a story or a movie about their life,
Mm,
they get, if it's successful, usually they sell the rights to somebody and somebody else makes it, right? It's very rare for somebody to write something about their life that's very personal and them to be the executive producer and for it to turn out well. Because usually they want to exert too much control, but
right.
Phil did a great job of hiring great people, the directors, to the production staff. They were just super professional, and she gave them free reign, and they did I think I'm really excited to see the movie. I haven't seen it yet. They just finished post production, so I've seen the trailer, which is cool, but it's not out for public consumption yet. And
Oh,
we're
wow.
crossing our fingers and seeing what their distribution is going to be. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
Wow, we're excited too. Maybe one
Like,
day they can have it playing on Strike TV. That would be awesome.
that would be great. Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
We're up for it.
I mean, why not? I mean, I can't. The things that I've had happen this year are just kind of nuts, and it's just, I think it comes from staying in the game, like a lot of things in success. Like there's so many times that people are like, why do you keep doing, why do you keep, why do you keep beating yourself up doing all this stuff in music? You could just sit at home and, or go play golf or whatever. And, that's why, I love music. I'm not ever going to stop making music or writing once I've realized, oh, I have a gift for this.
No, hey, well, we play on Strike TV, and my husband plays you on TexasBestCountry.com. Texas
Yes.
music, and we love your music.
Oh,
You're
thank
a
you.
great guy, and tell everybody where they can go and find you on the website, Facebook, and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So just, if you can't remember James Robert Webb, just remember Jim Bob Webb or something like that. But, or if you're, my friends to the south, Jaime Roberto Webbo, I guess. But jamesrobertwebb.com. It'll take you straight to Instagram, where my website is jamesrobertwebb.com. Whether you listen to Apple Music or Spotify or YouTube or whatever, it's all James Robert Webb. So go check it out and
Sweet.
tell me what you think.
And
And
then,
make sure you tell me you heard me on Strike TV.
yeah, there you
DM
go.
me on Instagram and say, "Oh, we saw you on Strike TV," and letting us know that's really helpful for us and for you guys too, right?
Yes,
So
sir. It sure
so
is.
don't
And
be
hey,
bashful. Let us
I'm
know.
I'm looking for that vinyl in the mail too from you.
Absolutely. Yep. We got them. We're packing them right now. So
Awesome. I can't wait. We'll
excellent.
brag about it when we get it. We'll brag about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, hey, we've enjoyed you, James Robert Webb, and
Man, it's been fun.
yeah, thanks, James. Hey, don't go nowhere.